Okay, so this game has 4 apprentices, L, M, N, and O, and they're initially assigned to projects Q, R, S, and T respectively. During the year in which they are apprentices, 2 reassignments of apprentices to projects will be made, each time according to a different one of the following plans, which can be used in any order. So we know we have 2 reassignments, and they're going to be made according to the plans. Plan number 1. The apprentice assigned to Project Q switches projects with the apprentice assigned to Project S, and the apprentice assigned to Project R switches projects with their apprentice assigned to Project T. So, in our first plan, which is our first rule, we have Q switching with S and R switching with T. Plan 2. The apprentice assigned to Project S switches projects with the apprentice assigned to Project T. And Plan 3. L and M switch projects with each other. So we know with the 2 reassignments, we can have first Plan 1, then Plan 2, or we could have first Plan 1, then Plan 3. We could have first Plan 2, then Plan 1, or first Plan 2 and then Plan 3. And we can have first Plan 3 and then Plan 1, or first Plan 3 and then Plan 2. So now that we know what the plans are, let's go ahead and write out each option. So first, what happens if we use Plan 1? So Plan 1, we're switching Q and S and R and T. So that means that N is going to be with Q, and L is going to be with S, and then we have O with R and M with T. So that's after Plan 1. And now we need 2 reassignments. So that's the first reassignment with Plan 1. Then we can try with Plan 2. So if we then switch to Plan 2, we have N with Q still, O with R, and then we're switching S and T. So that means that M is with S and L is with T. Now, so we could have done first Plan 1, then Plan 2. But what happens if we did first Plan 1 and then we did Plan 3? Well, we would have N with Q still, O with R still, and since Plan 3 is switching L and M's assignments, we'd have M with S and L with T. Alright, so that was if we started with Plan 1 first. Now, what happens if we start with Plan 2 first? Well, Plan 2 is switching S and T, so that means we would have L with Q, M with R, O with S, and N with T. And then, if we went from Plan 2 and then our second plan was Plan 1, we would have O with Q, N with R, L with S, and M with T. Now, if we first did Plan 2 as the first reassignment, then Plan 3 as the second reassignment, we would have M with Q, L with R, O with S, and N with T, right? And then the last option, if we did our first reassignment as Plan number 3, we would have M with Q, L with R, N with S, and O with T, because Plan 3 is saying switch L and M. Now, if our second reassignment in this option was Plan 1, we would have N with Q, O with R, M with S, and L with T, because we're switching Q and S and R and T. And then if our second reassignment was Plan 2, then we would have M with Q, L with R, O with S, and N with T, because Plan 2 is switching S and T. Alright, so those are all of our options. We have our rules, our setup, and our deductions. It's important to note that though this seems like a really long thing to write out, it saves you a ton of time while doing the questions. Alright, so hope that was helpful. Go ahead and try out this game and we'll go to the next setup.